So I'm here live with Rockstar marketing manager Keith Pinto. He's joining us for the first time on the podcast, and then Tom's son Aiden as well is joining us. And we wanted to do this podcast with Keith. Keith is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to marketing. He's essentially the manager of all the marketing here that happens at Rockstar. And lately, he's also dived down the AI rabbit hole. So this recent AI boom that we've all been hearing about with ChatGPT and all these different tools and stuff, Keith has become a wizard at using these tools. He just did a great presentation for the Rockstar VIP members and then for the team members here on Monday.
He scared everyone there at the VIP event.
That was fun.
Yeah. Keith took a turn scaring everyone instead of Tom with his economic update. So yeah, we just wanted to sit down with Keith and chat with him about his journey here to Canada, about marketing principles and a lot of his marketing knowledge, and then also this AI stuff. He has a lot of interesting stuff that he can share about that.
Yeah, awesome. I'm super happy to share whatever I have.
So Keith, what's your background? Where are you from?
So I'm from a city called Mumbai in India. It's, if you talk about square feet or like area wise, it's smaller than Toronto, but it has 3 times more population than Toronto. So it's around 21 million people in Mumbai. So the density is really, really high. I'm coming from a city which is like super crowded.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Toronto is only 3 million people.
I think it's 6 or 7
Is that the whole GTA though? I think the actual city of Toronto is only 3 million.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But then if I'm only holding on to Toronto, we're smaller than Toronto and we still have 21 million people there. And it grows every day. Like there are trains coming in from all over India coming into the cities. There are other cities as well, but Mumbai is just like, for someone who has dreams, who wants to kind of achieve something, they would go to Mumbai and kind of start their journey.
Is that like the New York City of India?
Sort of, yeah. I would call it, yeah. I would
like in LA or New York where people go to achieve their dreams?
New York would be the right, comparison if you go to see that.
Yeah, and then language spoken there. Your English is like better than mine. It's impeccable.
It's English, majority is Hindi, but it depends on which state you are, like how provinces, when you mention provinces out here, there's states there. So it depends on which state you are in. Your mother tongue is different. For me, I've grown up speaking English because we used to go to the church and I still go to the church and stuff, but we get to communicate a lot in the same language, right? So it helps. So yeah, that's why my English is so good.
So you came here 4 years ago and you were shocked with the Ontario GO trains compared to your experience with trains back home. Can you explain what that was like?
Okay. So my train experience back home has been like scary because obviously it's crowded as hell. I've showed you some videos, right? How scary it can be. But my first time I was actually coming here to the other office, the old office, and I was like, okay, I just have to take a train and get to that place. How hard can it be? I sat on the train. I was probably the only person in that compartment, and I came all the way alone. So I was like so surprised. I started clicking pictures, sending it across to my friends, like, dude, you have to check this out and stuff.
Look at these empty trains here.
Yeah, I was like, am I even going in the right place? I didn't mention this to anyone. I actually went to the center of the train where the guys who makes the announcements, and I asked him, like, is this going to Oakville? He's like, yeah. It's like, where is everyone? It's like, you're not traveling during the peak hours. You would probably see that during the evenings or in the early mornings and stuff. I said, okay, I don't mind traveling like this every day. So it was a 2-hour journey because I had to kind of
you were coming from Scarborough to Oakville every day.
Exactly. So it was 2 hours one way. But again, because it was so empty and quiet, I could do a lot of things. I could read stuff. I could, watch a movie if I needed to, or just simply take a nap. So I was okay spending that much time.
Yeah. Good for you, man, to come from Scarborough to Oakville every day, 4 hours of commute time. That's what it's all about, man. That's huge.
Yeah. It kind of got a little hard once I had my baby because then I needed to spend more time back home, right? It's not flexible anymore. So I was like, hey, I might just move. I like this place. I really want to work here for as long as I can. So I decided to get a place really close by. So I'm like 10 minutes away from the office now. So yeah. My commutes drop like crazy.
Yeah, you bought a condo here, and that's definitely been better for you. Yeah. And it's been cool to see, man. You come here because we started at the same time at Rockstar.
Right.
So you came here, you had this crazy commute for I don't know how many years you did that, and then to see you build up your life here in Canada. You had Caden, your kid. You just recently bought a car. You bought your condo, and you really it's just cool to see, because I feel like I've had it so easy relative to you being born and raised here. Whereas you've had to come and kind of build yourself up from nothing here. No network, no anything. So it's just inspiring to see, man.
Thanks.
What was your experience like overall with the Canadian immigration system?
Well, right after we got married, like was in 2015, I decided that I had to move to another country. Like I was done with India because I was really struggling. I was putting a lot of hours, but I was not really getting, any monetary benefit out of it, and the pollution and a lot of other things like the political stability in the country is also not the best. I know people might disagree with me, but I feel like I don't feel safe there anymore. So I decided to move to Canada because when I was looking at other countries like Australia and some other European nations, it was a little more tougher for me to get through. But I applied through the permanent residence process, where I had to go through, share all my experiences, my education, and then I had to give an English test as well, which is called IELTS. And I had to submit all of that information. I got into a pool, they have a draw, and then if your score is really high and if they have a cutoff, and if you make the cutoff, then you're getting invited. And that's when, the actual process starts. That's when I send most of the original documents and stuff. They will validate it and then finally say, hey, you're welcome to come to the country. Here's the stamp on your passport. Come into the country in the next 6 months and you will get your permanent resident card. So that's my whole process. So it took me at least 2 years because I had so many other things I needed to do. I need to do the IELTS exams and stuff. I gave them my first attempt, and the IELTS exam, what happens is the written exam is actually writing. So you take a pencil and say, I was not really good at writing because my handwriting is really shit. I've spent most of my time on computers, so I've lost touch. But I was so determined to actually make it to this country that I didn't lose hope. There was, those kindergarten kids, they actually sit with a red and a blue line to kind of get their handwriting in place. I actually did that. I sat down and I wrote that for months. And then I went and I attempted the exam again, and then I was able to clear that. And everything else was fine. My scores were all like really, really high, except for the writing was just because of my handwriting.
What was the exam for?
It was to just test your English language.
Okay.
And you need to pass this?
Yes, you can. There's not really passing. It's just like they see your ability, and based on your scores, you get bonus if you are really good at it, right? So I think it's a CLB 9, if I'm not mistaken, is what I kind of achieved. And that gave me an additional 50 points that could be added to my entire score. So that really helped. And that's why I didn't give up, right? So if I would just submit my scores with my first test that I gave in, I would have not made it. So that's why I was like, no, I need to make through. So I just went ahead and did this whole process and kind of went through it. So I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's time consuming. There's a lot of paperwork involved and stuff. But I feel compared to other countries, it's easier to get into Canada. Yeah.
And then you made a comment earlier about how you think that, like, it's interesting that they incentivize strong English speakers, but you were saying some of the ways people are getting into Canada now that English isn't being incentivized, or they're struggling with it because they're getting around the English testing to get in.
Yeah. So just to explain this, so you have permanent residency. That is one way of getting in. The other way of getting in is through education, right? You take up a course and then you complete the course, and then you start working and you apply for a PR and kind of get there.
So they come in through being an international student?
Exactly. And the barrier for entry for that is really low in terms of the English language. So I'm not against it. Like, everyone should get the opportunity to come here, right? It's an amazing country. A lot of opportunities available here. However, I think we're setting them up for a little bit of failure out here because in order to get a good job, you need to be able to communicate with people. And that was one of the strong points for me when I came in and spoke to Dominic and I had an interview. I was able to communicate my point. A lot of the students out here, because the English language was not such of a big deal to get into, some of the courses out here, they are going to face a lot of trouble when they're going to hit the real market. Right, when they're done with the course, when they actually walk into the real world, they're going to face a lot of problems. In fact, we recently had an event and we had this huge a job fair right next to the event that we had, and there were thousands of students out there for practically like 10 jobs. Like, it kind of showed that there are a lot of students, there's a lot of people out here, but I don't think they're getting the right opportunity. Maybe someone's doing an MBA or doing something else, but are they working in the field that they've actually chosen? So yeah, I feel like the immigration system is not really set up right. I'm not complaining because there are a lot of people coming in. I want more people to come in. There's a lot of opportunities, like I mentioned earlier. But I feel like another negative that I could bring about is our infrastructure is not developing at the same pace as the number of immigrants actually coming through. So it's me, it's you who's already been in the country are going to face this problem where you go into the hospital at an emergency. I spend 12 hours just waiting to get attended by someone. So that is going to get amplified the more the number of people keep coming in. So if they fix that, if they have, we get 1 million people, so we have 10 new hospitals come in, I think there's a balance there. And that's, I think, one way of fixing the immigration system. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can continue enriching the country, I think, with different cultures and skilled workers. I think they actually do a pretty good job of incentivizing the skilled worker. And but yeah, it's the infrastructure. And then that's what fosters like anti-immigration.
Exactly.
Is because people are like, look, now we can't afford houses here, or there's too much traffic, or the hospitals, and like, yeah, it's not keeping up. And then it's creating that political divide where it's a very controversial hot topic now.
Exactly.
And for a good reason. Like it should, if you're bringing in this amount of people, you need to have this amount of infrastructure to keep up. Otherwise, everyone's quality of life suffers.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and totally, we see that with housing, and we're also looking at the numbers recently, the amount of international students coming into Canada compared to the other big whatever it was, like the G7 countries. And yeah, Canada's, I think it was almost 50 or 100% more, like double the amount of international students coming in Canada compared to like the US, the UK, Australia. So yeah, it's crazy to see.
Yeah, per capita, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about AI. So you had this awesome AI presentation.
Okay.
And first of all, what is AI? Just a quick definition.
If I have to define it simply, it's a technology that allows machines to think, and what else can it do? And it kind of takes and make decisions. So think of it as a software that has the capability of consuming so much and analyzing a lot of data, learning from the data, and then using that data to kind of make decisions and solving problems. So that is what AI does, and it's kind of formulated based on the human brain. Because what we do is, like right now, my eyes is looking at 30 frames per second, right? For a minute, it's like 1,800 frames per second. And in a day, if you're not going to sleep, it's going to be like 2.5 million frames per second. We're consuming so much of information. We store some, I don't know what happens in the brain out there, but then we use that to take decisions. We use that to learn some stuff and kind of execute it later in our life. Same thing with AI. They kind of learn information using data, and then they can execute whatever task that is being put across to them, as long as the data is accurate. Like sometimes if you feed the wrong data, it's learning the wrong information, so it's not going to give you the right information, right? So that's exactly how we work as well. If you teach me something that is wrong, I'm learning from you, and I feel that is right, I'm going to go and execute it the same way, and we're going to continue making this mistake. So yeah, that's how AI that's how AI works, basically. Yeah,
you broke it down in really simple terms, which I liked, which was, it's just like a massive amount of calculations from a massive amount of data that's happening. So the input information comes in, like you used a Tesla car stopping at a red light. The input is the yellow light gets picked up by the camera frames.
That's right.
And then based on all these calculations, based on a huge amount of data, it knows I need to slow down, or I'm going too fast, or it's too, like the light just went and I'm already in the intersection.
That's
so
right.
I'm going to continue going through. So based on all these calculations happening within, a millisecond or even a shorter time frame, it then goes through those calculations, and then the output is that the car slows down, or that it continues through the intersection.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, that's the most basic, simple way I've heard it explained.
Yeah. And we look at it as in, the capture that we do every day, like when we have to sign up for, when you go and put your information in a form, you get a capture, it's an image capture, and it shows up like, hey, can you select the traffic lights? So I go ahead and I select the traffic lights out there, and that is data for AI to kind of learn. So we are actually providing that data, because for us, that is the traffic lights, and then that information is collected and then supplied to another AI software that is learning from that information. So we are giving that information to it. So yeah.
How much of that is happening that we don't even know about?
It's everywhere. Think of it when you are translating something. Like you found something which is in Spanish and you copy paste it and put it into Google and say translate it into English, and you say, oh, that's not bad, and it'll ask you, hey, is this good or is it bad? You see the up and the down arrow, right? So when you hit up, it means that you're feeding this information back to AI saying that this is good enough so that I can use this for the next thing. So everywhere, even when you use ChatGPT, it always asks you at the end, do you think this information that I gave you is good or is it bad? So when you say it good, it's actually learning from that, and it's going to use that information to process it for the next person who uses the same command. So it's constantly learning. Your car as well, sometimes when you're driving. So at the end of the driving system, I'm not sure if it's really active with most of Teslas. It'll tell you, how did you find your driving experience? It was in the test phase. So it will say yes, no, you made these mistakes. So it's basically you're feeding information. So Tesla right now is fighting with the government saying, I need to do more of these tests. I need to be on the road testing these cars, because that's the only way the car will learn that, there's a person walking, or there's another car, or there's some sort of obstacle that I need to avoid. And yeah, that's basically giving it more information.
I didn't realize that algorithms, though thinking about it now, is artificial intelligence, and that, algorithms on YouTube and on our phones and Google search and, ads that are targeted to you have been around for so long. I didn't really realize that was artificial intelligence, but it comes in many different forms.
Yeah. It's everywhere. Like when we say algorithm, it's, what it's doing is it's going out there and getting that information. So I wanted to explain the concept of neural networks. So just like our brain, there is something called as, the brain has neurons, right? So neural networks is like the backbone for an artificial intelligence and data learning machines, right? So what neural networks is artificial neurons, which uses algorithms to go out there, look at all the data and understand the relationship between data. So everything that we use is all neural networks. Back in the day in 2012 or Google started training a neural network by showing it cat images, and it was not even labeling it. It's not saying, okay, this is a furry cat, this is a black cat, this is a white cat. It was just showing images to the neural network, and it was basically consuming the information. And then when it was connected to another data set, it was able to kind of connect all the information and say, okay, this cat is a furry cat, so it'll understand that information. It doesn't need me to go and label that image anymore and say that it's a furry cat. So that is how neural networks work, and it's almost everywhere. So we use it with our social media, like our ads. How does it decide that this ad needs to be shown up to Anthony Mononaro? Because your behavior on the internet is defining what that AI needs to do with you. So if it says, okay, this is the parameters that I set up, and AI will decide based on your behavior that I'm going to show this ad to you. And it's doing pretty well, right? Right now, our ads are running on an auto basis. We just put in like, okay, it just needs to be served within Canada, and it just goes and figures out, which is the right audience. It takes a little while, right? It's in a learning phase. It goes and searches out for people. But when it figures it out, it knows which one to go and target and show these ads to.
Are you getting this information back? Like, okay, here's the target demographic we've decided on that's engaging with your ads?
No, I don't think we get that information. We can save them as audiences that we can reuse it, but they will not really give you the demographics and stuff that way. It's not really visible.
So it'll give you a pool?
It'll give you a
specific
pool
audience group? That's
right. And then you can go after it and like remarket and use that pool as well. But you don't get names and demographics and all that stuff.
Is this Google, or is this different social media like Facebook ads? Which specific platform?
Any ad platform right now is all structured around the same thing, because it's all based on behavior and how you kind of structure it. Like if you give a lot of information, back in the day when ads really ran, was you gave them demographics, like you gave them your name, your age, where you're born, and where you're staying right now, and based on that they would actually go and find you, right? But now,
so like when you sign up for Facebook, you're putting in all your demographics.
Exactly.
And then you would, as a marketer, use the Facebook, you would target your Facebook ads to that whatever specific demographic that you wanted.
Correct. And back in the day it was based on that demographics, but then say for example I was in Mumbai, right? So now I've moved to Canada, and it automatically picks it up based on my GPS data and stuff that way, that where I am right now, and it'll only show me ads based on this country. Initially, that was not allowed, right? So I was in Mumbai and India, and if I was in Canada, I was still getting ads from India. But now, because of AI, it understands where I am and, what's my behavior, which city I am, and I'm kind of localized, and I get ads localized as well, based on all the behavior and stuff that I'm doing.
I've noticed that too. Like when we're in Croatia in the summer, I've noticed my ads once we're there for like a week are then Croatian products and all the languages in Croatian. And I didn't change anything in my settings or on my phone. Yeah, it just knows your location and then I guess pushes those ads.
Yeah, it's instantaneous. Like it changes almost as soon as you go there and switch on your maps, because you need to do that to get to a place, right? It knows exactly, all that data is fed back into the system, and all this data is what AI is learning and then delivering stuff to you. So as much information that you can give back to the system, that is how it's using to kind of process it and come back to you with the relevant information.
I don't know if you guys have had this experience, but I feel like sometimes I'll say something out loud. I like don't even search it up on my phone, and then you get those ads the next day and you're like, this thing has to be listening to me. Yeah. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like we've all had those experiences where it's like
how much
you say
truth
something.
is in that?
I haven't dug deep into that stuff, but I've heard a lot of people say this. In fact, I was talking to one of my friends. He was like, hey, I was at my brother's place, and I was just the other day, I was actually having a conversation with my wife about something, a product. And when he was at his brother's place, it showed up out there. I was like, how is that even possible? It's like, then I kind of looked into it, and it's like, he was connected to the same Wi-Fi network as his brothers. And then it felt like when he was watching the video, it was like, okay, you're in this Wi-Fi network, but you had this conversation, so I'm going to show you this ad right now. Because it's your device. Because he was streaming his device onto the television. So it recognizes his device and it was showing the ad, and he was blown away. It's like, how is this even possible? Like, but I don't know, like most of the companies deny that they're listening to you, but there's a mic.
That data must be there, because I mean, hey Siri, like I'll say that right now and my phone will turn on and Siri's listening. So it's always listening to you, and I guess that data is there.
Yeah, there is a mic, right? So why do governments go after these like TikTok and stuff that way? It's like, okay, they're consuming data, they're getting information. But I feel like the mic's always on. It's constantly.
It must be. It needs to be. If I say hey Siri, then there goes my phone.
Yeah.
Can you shut the mic off? Do you have the option to?
I think you can. In my device, the Google Nest Hub that I have, there is an option where I can actually turn off the mic, so it doesn't really take any more commands after that. But if I switch it back on, it kind of...
Yeah, for the longest time, I didn't use Hey Siri. I'm like, I don't want to have this on. I don't know if that turning... Like, maybe it was still listening, even with me having that off, but now I finally broke. I'm just like, whatever, I'm going to keep it on. Because
it feels so invasive.
Yeah.
Huh. So how has marketing changed then? So from back in the day when you would plug in the demographics, now basically in all these ad platforms, it's doing all that work for you?
So technology is really good, because now it's allowed me to go after the person that I really, really need to go after, right? It's just narrowing down for me, because initially I would need to go and set up the audiences. I need to figure out where they are and all of this stuff. But with technology, I'm getting more avenues. Not everyone is on Facebook. Not everyone's on Instagram. Not everyone's on TikTok. But if I know I can go at each of these platforms and put my ad and let the AI decide that this is the right audience for me, I'm just going to put in my money, go after these audiences, make sure the message is right, and those guys will keep coming to me. So I feel technology has helped a marketer to kind of reach to a point that they can identify markets better.
Does this then, because everyone has access to find their like best target market, then make it more competitive, because like everyone else is seeing ads that apply like so well to them? Like, because if our ads are reaching the target market best for Rockstar,
and then another person looking targeting real estate investors in Ontario,
those ads are going to go. So if there are two different people kind of targeting the same person, it's going to show up to those guys. So if I'm as an individual, I'm using my Facebook, I can see if you run an ad and you run the ad with the same demographics, I can see your ad and your ad as well. So it doesn't decide based on that. So for an advertiser, there is a lot of competition, right? So we see that with our business as well. When we run ads, I see a lot of our competitors. You can see in the graph that there is competitor targeting as well. And that's the reason why our pricing kind of goes up. If there are more competitors who are going after the same keyword or the same demographic, your price automatically starts going up, because it's based on bid. who is willing to pay the highest amount for this person's attention is going to get that person. So it's all about how much.
So it's not like both companies' ads will show up. It's just whoever pays more.
It could show up for both of them, but then the frequency also matters, right? So how many times are you going to show up with those person? Like if I don't have that much of money and I've kept my bid really low, it's not going to show up so many times on that person's feed. But if I'm constantly, my budget is high and it keeps showing up in my feed, there's a high possibility that I'm actually going to click on that ad and kind of go there. It happens with me. I don't just randomly just click on an ad. I need to see that a couple of times to see, okay, what is this information? And then I kind of go in and kind of see that information. I just don't randomly click on an ad as a marketer. So yeah.
All these privacy laws are coming out that seem to be blocking some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So as a marketer, how are you constantly staying up to date with all these things and then pivoting and adjusting and working around basically this war that's going on out there?
And to add to that too, I know there's specific keywords that you can't use when we're advertising, right?
So because we're in real estate, so we cannot target certain demographics. We can't be like, okay, this person in this profession and stuff that way. We can only target the age 18 and above, and we can only select the area. That's it. That's all that we have. So financial services, anything to do with real estate, and there's one more thing, I think political as well. I think you can't use targeting. It has to be available to everyone to kind of see that. What was the other thing that you asked me about?
Keywords that you can't use?
No, that was it.
And then, to add on to that, so then what is an example of a business or a company that can specifically target something? Like, is there an example that we can't do but another company can because they're totally different?
Yeah, why is real estate blocked? Like, I understand politics.
Because what the government said, and then there was a law passed. I think there was a lawsuit against Facebook in the US that said that because you're allowing a certain group of people to target a certain sort of real estate options available, you're kind of discriminating against people. So if you put an ad which is real estate related, it has to go to everyone. You cannot discriminate. You cannot be showing ads only to the rich and not to any, like a middle class or the lower class. Because when you say rich, it could be like, hey, a doctor or a businessman or something that way, and then you can exclude all of those guys. But now that option has been completely taken away from me. I can't do that anymore. So I have to target just the area and the age, and that's it. It is a lot.
Okay, and no other demographics.
Other businesses can do that. Like an e-commerce business can kind of go and figure out, because it's a product-based stuff, so it can go after certain things. So if it's like a gym-related product, you can search for people who are interested in weightlifting and all of that stuff. And kind of
interesting.
That stuff, but not real estate, political, and financial services. There is more, but I think these are the top three that I can think of right now.
Do you think there's like a good balance that can be struck between consumer protection laws and then also the need for marketers to target and advertise?
So there's a huge battle happening right now, and I think it was around 2021 and 2022 where everyone was trying to get away from the cookie world, right? So how does marketer kind of identify and retarget and show you those ads over?
Can you explain too for anyone who doesn't know what cookies are when you accept?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if I say I visit Amazon today and I clicked on a product and I looked at the information I was not ready to kind of buy, I get out and I go on Facebook, any other place, I start seeing ads for it. So what's happening is when I went to Amazon dropped a cookie. Okay, it's a pixel basically. So it dropped you could say a code.
So this is what you're accepting when you click yes on that pop-up box whenever you open a...
So now every website needs to have that. It's telling them, hey, that we actually do cookies. Can you please accept it or reject? Or you can modify, like, who do you want to show your data to? If you click on that, it gives you a big list and which networks you want to kind of share that information. It's kind of going in depth to who you want to share your data. You can either accept all, or you can reject all, or you can kind of modify that. And that is allowing the cookie to kind of get deposited on your browser. And based on that, ads will then go after you, right? So it'll be like, okay, I identify this person like this product, so now I can show this ad and go after this person as many times as I want to. So that is how the cookie is working. So now most of these companies now are trying to get away from cookie, because eventually they, like for example, Apple doesn't allow tracking. Like it gives you an option when you set up your phone. Is like, do you want to allow tracking or disallow tracking? So if you click on disallow tracking, I can't track anything that an Apple phone user is kind of using. So that means I cannot drop a cookie. I cannot do any of the kind of stuff. It's illegal. So what's happening is marketers are now finding different avenues to kind of find these guys. There's something called as the cookieless world. So we're now using servers which will identify these people, and then I'm not really explaining it right, but it's like it's a different way of tracking them. You don't get all the information that you need, but at least you know, okay, this person is coming from this place, he's using an Apple device, and he's probably from this area. So you're getting some information from them, and that is like, it's not going straight forward now with the cookie. It's like kind of going like a roundabout way of trying to track information. So you're setting up.
Seems like a constant battle between marketers just finding loopholes around the laws and protection.
It's complex because you're adding more layers. For a marketer, it just gets more difficult every day because you're constantly adding new laws. You're constantly changing. Like for me, when we were introduced to this whole thing that I cannot target anymore, I was shocked because that is like a bread and butter, right? And it's like, I need to know, I need to go after my market. Like, how can you stop me from doing that? But then Facebook came up saying like, hey, we have AI that will figure out who the person is for you. So don't worry, we will test. So when you actually start running an ad, you'll see your price really high, like a cost per lead.
But it's trying to figure out who to push that to?
Yeah, it's in a learning phase. And as soon as it's out of the learning phase, it is determined who is the right person. So it kind of looks at like 5 people have taken an action, find those 5 people similar to these guys, and then start showing ads to them. So that's how your prices start coming down, and that's how you kind of train the Facebook's algorithm to kind of go after people.
So that's Facebook specifically, or the other platforms work?
Most of the platforms have that. Google kind of allows you to go after. So we still have the targeting options and stuff that way, but eventually that would also go away. They want you to trust their algorithm and just put the money, put your ads, and they will figure out. So you can like load up 20 images and 20 different statements, and it'll just play around, just like keep circulating between each of them and show which one's the most appropriate. And then, it just does it by itself. I don't have to set it up completely from start to end.
Do you think that it's like morally right to be kind of the way marketing has gone, where it's so based on targeting specific niches and stuff to then present your products and services? Like, how do you think that's justifiable, do you think?
I think it's morally correct, because when you sign up for a service, you're giving away the right of privacy in the first place. Because when you accept those,
nobody reads it.
We just all click accept.
We're all doing it. We just don't realize what we're doing. But then we get the value from signing up for these services.
Absolutely. So you're
selling your soul a little bit.
And I guess that's why all these platforms are free for us to use.
Exactly. That was the point. So
because you're the product advertised.
Yeah, your data is. So for these companies, the biggest gold mine right now is the data, because they take that data, they can use it for themselves, they can give it to third party, and they can use it for running their ads and stuff, right? It's not always just Facebook. So Facebook can take that and sell it to someone else. So you've already, as soon as you signed in and you accepted the terms and conditions, you've kind of given away the rights and stuff. So you will get to see these ads. And as a marketer, if you're there, I could be anywhere. I could see you walking in the middle of the street. I could just go and like bother you and start having a conversation with you, right? It's the same thing, but it's on a wider scale. It's me going across and trying to give you a message. The whole idea is, if your product and your service is good and it's going to change their lives in some way, I don't feel it's wrong to kind of go out there and be in front of them.
And I guess it does
I feel the same way.
Yeah, and I guess it does make companies and advertisers competitive, because it's like whoever offers the best product or ad will then succeed. So it does offer like, you need to be competitive and improve your product.
Yeah,
true. Yeah, it does contribute to that competitive kind of cycle, which does make things better, faster, cheaper. I agree. I think if you have a product or service that can benefit people, then you have a moral obligation to try and get your message out to those people. But then it all comes back down to like, if you're actually helping people. Yeah. I mean, that's the core of it.
I was watching this Netflix episode from Black Mirror, which was the recent one with Salma Hayek in it. And it's actually, I don't know, like give spoilers, but it was around the same thing. Like the person gave away his rights and then there was a show created based on the person's life, and it's all because of AI, and was easily able to create characters and stuff that way. So I'm like, this show, first of all, is amazing because it depicts all the stuff that could happen in future. And I was thinking like,
and is happening.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm giving away my rights and my image and everything else there, what stops them from using my face, my identity?
And I think that's where, some of this stuff gets crazy, because some of the stuff that you were showing during that presentation with the voice AI, and then you showed that Drake song that was completely made by AI, and it sounds exactly like Drake. That's where it can get scary, I feel like. And then that's where like we need some rules and regulations.
Not only did it sound like Drake, it was a great song.
Yeah, it was a really good song, because even Weeknd is a part of that song as well. So when Drake was asked about this, he was like, he was pretty pissed off about it, right? I mean, how can you kind of make something and it's like, it wasn't used for commercial purposes, but where are we getting to? Like, it's like, there's enough of information or enough of songs available from Drake that you can actually use that to train an AI model that does voice and kind of create that for him. So,
and I saw that AI song had millions of streams on Spotify the next day.
Exactly. And then it is beneficial for him, because he will never have to sing another song again if he ever loses his voice. That's his insurance. But if someone else does it, it's a problem, right? I mean, commercially, like, they are going to make money, but where do we stop?
Yeah, like who has the rights to what?
Exactly.
Wow. So this recent AI boom, like ChatGPT, you shared a bunch of other ones. Midjourney is used for just creating images where you put in the prompts, teddy bear riding a skateboard in Times Square.
Yeah.
And then it creates that image. You had a bunch of them, which we can go over.
The one that I'm using here in the office frequently now is Opus Clip.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one usually that does the, cuts the clips for the podcast for like the Instagram Reels and the YouTube Shorts and TikTok and stuff. And now this AI, I just put in the YouTube link to the full podcast, and it'll automatically cut clips that think people will enjoy. And the clips that it cuts in like 5 minutes is pretty crazy. Sometimes the clips that it cuts is the same clips that I thought were good as well, and I was going to cut anyways. And this does it all in 5 minutes.
And it's giving you a title and copy for that clip.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's actually putting in the captions. At certain places, it's actually throwing in the emojis as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I've played with other tools as well, and I recommended it to Aiden at a point of time. And every day, I actually stumble upon a new tool. So it's hard to keep up, because yesterday I was talking to Nigel, and he mentioned about this tool called Tome.app, which does presentations for you. I was pretty good. I used the free version. It was able to create an entire AI presentation for me in less than 30 seconds. So I was like, did I really have to make this presentation, or I could just ask the app to do it? But then again, I had to go into all this economic stuff, and I was trying to kind of personalize it a little bit. But right now, on a daily basis, I'm seeing one new app that comes out, and I'm sure there's going to be another app that's going to beat Opus Clip as well, or even ChatGPT has got so much of data now and so much of fan following that it's going to be tough to beat ChatGPT. But if there's a tool that could do a little bit more than what ChatGPT is already doing and has more accurate information, then I feel it could be beaten as well. There could be something else.
So do you think that the choice basically comes down to either adopt these new technologies and progress, or ignore them and try to hope they go away? What's your advice to people with all these new tools coming out?
It's definitely not going away. With the pace it's growing, with the amount of investment that venture capitalists are actually putting into to these companies right now to generate AI, to all of the stuff, it's an indication that this is here to stay. It's going to transform a lot of things. If you go back when computers really hit the market, a lot of people kind of said like, nah, it's not a big deal, and I'm not going to accept it. Those guys faded away, because anyone who adopted computers were able to kind of transform their business and were able to do more. Like, there's new jobs that came up, developers, web developers, designers, because of the computers, right? Initially, all this was only limited to certain amounts, like artists who could just paint and stuff.
Yeah, I guess whoever could use the new technologies the best, like whoever can use these new tools, won. And I guess it'll be the same with this AI stuff. Like if you can use the AI tools the best, then you'll be the best to succeed.
Yeah, you no longer need to actually have the most skill or be the most creative. You just need to be the best at using prompts.
Yeah, you just need to be creative at that, because if you know how to use the prompts, right, it's like doing a Google search, but doing it so good that you use the plus and the minus, and you know the right keywords to kind of put it out there. Those are the guys who will win. Because when I did the presentation, I told them, if you have kids right now, get them to use that stuff, get them to be better at it, because there are going to be jobs right now where companies will hire you to, if you can write a great prompt and get me that stuff right there. Because if I could get an image, which would take at least 2 days for an illustrator to kind of build that, versus that can be done in 30 seconds, a company will always go after someone who can do it faster, right? So I think, yeah.
How are you using these tools day to day here at Rockstar in your personal life?
So I use ChatGPT mostly if I need content to be written. I'm doing this little side business where I'm trying to help small businesses with marketing as well. If I need to kind of build blog posts, have structures and stuff that way, so I can kind of build that structure and start adding my own content. I don't use ChatGPT completely because there are tools there that can kind of identify if this stuff is written by AI or not. So I use it for structure, I use it for research, and then can go ahead and write those blog posts.
I've used ChatGPT too in university for like
writing an essay.
Yeah.
This is getting recorded.
Yeah, I know. We'll leave it at that. But and yeah, I mean, it's like so the results are really good. Like,
yeah, and
it produces good content. It's crazy to see.
And the pushback in the education system doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like pushing back on this thing where, yeah, I understand the skills that you develop by learning how to write yourself, by writing a good essay.
Yeah, 100%.
But at the same time, like, to just ignore these technologies and say, don't use them, when instead everything should be shifting to, here's how to use these technologies to multiply your productivity. It's just such a crazy argument.
We're at a weird time. And there's always the case where people are like, oh, we'll figure out if you're using AI and ChatGPT, but
the same thing.
It's not working. Like, the AI will always continue to advance, and those programs or AIs that's trying to catch if you're using AI or not, I think there'll always be a gap there. I think it'll be tough to kind of like...
Yeah, the same thing with Google search, right? When Google search came up and when students started using that to get, information about stuff.
Yeah, same thing.
The professors were like, no, you need to go to the library, go figure out the book, read that information. So it's the same. I think it's just evolving right now. And there's already love-hate relationship for it. I mean, like, I know like professors don't like it, but some professors are actually pushing to kind of allow that stuff because, again, it's getting them to kind of do the research quickly instead of kind of going through all of the...
And I can see both sides of it, because you need the fundamentals of language and stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But then, like trying to block it out completely, especially at maybe like some university levels, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just so overwhelming. Like, our brains can't process all these new developments.
Yeah. Anything that's available for you to see and take that information and utilize it in a day-to-day, you don't really need to make that like because the information that you use for the assignments is freely available. Why are you making it a point that, hey, it needs to be used by books, you should not be using it? You can do the same Google search and kind of do that.
Yeah, and then I guess it depends on like the subject we're talking about and how you're using it. Because like again, you'll need like the fundamentals and understand some things that I won't be able to do or teach you at that level.
Yeah.
So I guess it just all depends.
Yeah.
So how do you think people can integrate this for themselves in their own lives?
I think with their own lives, like for example, my wife used ChatGPT yesterday for writing a visa letter for her mom. So she wants to invite her. So she was like, I don't write one. So I said, just prompt ChatGPT to write one for you. And it did. And the only thing that she did was she added her mom's name and she added her name and the address. That's it. So on a day-to-day life as well, I think it just makes your life easier, because if you're already so busy, you can just ask it to kind of write stuff for you. For one of my friends, I've updated their entire resume based on the input. So I've taken their information, put it into ChatGPT and made it better, and then pasted out their cover letters. Like, I've not written cover letters for my ChatGPT. I've never changed my job and stuff, but I can write cover letters almost instantly based on what the job description is. So yeah, it's as quick as doing it for 30 seconds. So if that is something that I can do on my day-to-day life, great. For businesses as well, I don't think they should be wasting a lot of time in doing research on Google and stuff. You can just go to ChatGPT But you need to validate stuff, right? So when you get the information, you just need to make sure that most of the information
I guess it depends again on the subject.
Yeah, exactly. So like medical and stuff, I wouldn't really like literally rely on ChatGPT and say, okay, I can follow this. But there's some stuff like history and stuff that way I can just kind of blindly take that information. Again, I think I'll correct myself. I still need to validate that stuff. Things like letters, things like applications and stuff. I think I can just blindly take that and just like paste it and use it.
Wow. Yeah. So when you're in the past, when you would have Googled a question, something you're researching, do you just use ChatGPT now?
Yes, to a certain extent. If I need like a recipe or I need to find like a math, like an equation or something that way, like a conversion or something, I'll try to use ChatGPT. And I still use, I'm not 100% sure with ChatGPT, so I always confirm with Google, but Google always gives you a bunch of results and then you need to click on it and go in and kind of identify that. With ChatGPT, the paid version, it connects to the internet, which means now it's not limited to a data which was up till 2021. So you can actually find relevant and accurate information based on the connection that it's doing. Just yesterday, I did a demo of write a social media post on this property, promoting this property, and I just dropped the link of that place, of that property.
Like the MLS link.
Exactly. And it was able to take all that information and create a social media post for me.
Wow.
So
advertising the home for rent, I think it was.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was able to put those emojis and contact me, and it was very well polished, written and stuff. And I could just like literally copy it and paste it on a social.
I got to start using that for when I don't have a caption idea.
Yeah.
Just put in the video.
It's actually really good. You should
I need to play around with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize how far behind I am with adopting ChatGPT, because when you presented to our team yesterday, I think you're like, show of hands who's using it, and like half the room is already using it.
Exactly.
And
I was surprised as well. Yeah.
And I started asking, what are you guys using it for? And it's like content, blog posts, even if it's just for ideas. Like I was talking to a VIP member, Sean Cameron, at the last event, and he was saying he uses ChatGPT for coming up with topics, just to talk about, give me the 10 trending topics for mortgages right now in Canada. Gives him the list, and then he creates content based off of that.
Yeah. You can write an entire book. You can write scripts for your YouTube video. Everything can be done there, and it's a matter of 30 seconds. You just have to give them the topic that you need to have a conversation about, and it just like starts writing it for you. In fact, from start to end, you can use the entire AI. So you can use ChatGPT to write a script for you. You can take that script and you go to 11slab.io and use a voice to convert that entire script into audio, and then you can use one of the other tools to kind of make the presentation or the entire video for you as well. So that's how you can use AI from start to end. You don't even have to put a face to it anymore.
And this is just the beginning stages.
Yeah.
This boom came out of nowhere, where it's like all user AI programs. Like before, you were talking about how these big tech, giant tech companies are using AI algorithms and stuff. But now it's like the people's AI revolution.
Yeah. So I think this came about because there was a disruption. And the disruption was because creativity was hit. When AI was present, it's always been present. It's been there from the 1940s. It never really ramped up because the computation power required to kind of, have an AI and train it and run those processes were huge. Like, remember I put the presentation where it said that a supercomputer beat Garry Kasparov in chess in 1997. It was as big as this room. So, but now the computation power is so small that you can just process everything within your computer or your phone if you wanted to. Sorry, I lost a train of thought. What was it I was answering about?
I can't remember either. I'm so overwhelmed right now with all the AI
I guess,
stuff.
yeah. And then I've noticed too, the only way I guess that I've been using it really like not every day, but often I guess is just simple email replies. Like if I don't know how to answer an email in a certain way, I could just give it some context and it gives back. Yeah. Like impressive replies.
Yeah, you have within Google as well in Gmail. I'm not sure if it's introduced to everyone, but there's a pen icon. If you click on it and tell it like how you use ChatGPT, like write a letter for or write an email to this person for so and so reason, it writes the.
No way, that's right in Gmail?
Yes, but it's not available for everyone. It's in certain people have access to it. I saw it online.
So no, there's going to be emails going back and forth, just AI written. No one's actually.
No one's involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is scary.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it just feels like it's as good as saying that we're getting invaded by aliens right now, right? It's sort of that way, because you don't know where it's leading to. It's there, it's helping you out, but where does it stop? Where does it, like right now, AI doesn't have consciousness, right? It just is doing what it's learning and stuff. But what if it develops a consciousness? And then be like, will they start defending themselves? Will they look at us as a lesser being? And then be like, okay, like how humans look at plants, they will look the same way at us. Like we would be the slower, more lesser of a kind, and that they can kind of dominate. Or it could be like we become one. We become humanoids where we live forever, where we take our consciousness, all our experiences, and put it into a computer. And that becomes the brain of the humanoid. And then we live forever, basically. I don't know, it could potentially lead to that as well.
Wow. Well, I mean, like the early stages are almost happening where you can record a video before you die. Mm-hmm. And that video will now live on forever.
Exactly.
Like 10,000 years from now, people can go back and look at all the TikTok videos of people dancing and ridiculous stuff on the internet. Mm-hmm. And that's like a time capsule, a real living time capsule. And then technology just becomes deeper and deeper and better.
Yeah.
It's worrisome. And then in your presentation, you had a great point, which was like earth shattering, which was like for 100,000 years, humans have been the smartest beings on planet Earth. Mm-hmm. That's no longer the case.
Yeah. And we're training, we're giving this software the ability to be smarter than us. Because how smart can one person be? But it's learning from everyone. It's learning from everyone's art. It's learning from everyone's information, history, and then it's able to we're coming to a point where we're letting AI entertain us, right? It can write a book for us. It can create music. We just, like I told you about the Drake stuff, and also it's going to entertain us, but will it come to a point that it'll start ruling us as well? Because it feels like what we're doing is not good enough. Like we're not eating the right amount of food, so we're not eating the right food. We should stop eating that. Will AI control us that way? Or will it just be something that we can work along with and stuff? I don't know the answers to this, honestly, and not many people know. When I asked ChatGPT the same thing, they say it's always, again, ChatGPT is answering based on what information it's been given. So it's being very diplomatic right now and saying that, hey, no, we're not going to take over the world. We're just being nice, but we're just going to be here to help you. But what if it actually starts thinking and has the ability to kind of do stuff on its own?
It definitely feels like there needs to be some regulation stuff involved, which I don't even know if this point is possible to stop this growth and put
whose idea is all this?
Yeah, like I don't
put
even
a
know
stop to this.
If that's even possible, but
to a certain extent, there is filters created by these applications. Like for example, we have applications that can create videos, right? There's Gen 2 that can create video. There's images, which is Midjourney. You can't create certain images, like any violent images, anything which can depict pornography and stuff. But a lot of these softwares are open source. You can take that software, put it in your computer, train it, give it the right amount of data that it needs to, and you can create whatever you need to. So in wrong hands, it's actually bad. So I don't know how you can control that. So
yeah, I guess it's like any new technology, like it depends on who's wielding it, whether they can use it for good or evil. Like guns, you can kill someone with it, or you can, kill your dinner for the night and feed your family.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, mind-blowing stuff.
How has marketing changed since you started 15 years ago, 10 years ago?
I think it started 10 years ago. Marketing's really, really evolved. When I just started off, I was doing simple blog posts and stuff that way. There were advertisements we used to do in paper and in television and all of those things. But as soon as technology got introduced, like social media and the opportunity to kind of go after a bigger audience, I think that transformed everything. Like, ads can be, you can go after, like put in like $100,000 and go after like millions of people just by a click of button versus just like going to an event and being out right in front of 1,000 people. So your opportunity to meet more people has grown. And just like computers, marketing also you constantly need to kind of keep yourself in touch with the new trends and the new technology, because if you fall behind, then you stop learning, right? It's like you have to constantly keep learning. You have to constantly keep reading. You constantly keep in touch with new trends and new ad platforms, new social media platforms. So, are you the early adopter and you get the advantage, or you just stay behind and not do anything and just lose out on that big opportunity. So it has transformed, because back in the day you just run an ad on a newspaper and just wait for it and see if it actually runs, or like a big billboard, and you don't really have tracking anymore for those things. But with this ads and stuff, you can track it to the T, like to the every cent you can actually track it back. So I think that gives me as a marketer great potential of saying that, okay, like Tom always mentions that it's a math. Business is a math. So if you know basically how much you're going to spend to get one person into your business, and if that math works for you, then you can basically grow your business exponentially. If you can put $10 versus put in 100, then you can make your business really big. Then as a marketer, I have that much control and power to say that, yes, I can do that for you. So I think that's potentially possible now because of the technology and the tracking that's available.
How do you recommend people learn about marketing and AI?
For marketing and AI both, I think you just constantly need to keep learning about new trends and actually doing them. So if you learn about something and don't execute it, like I know a lot of people know about ChatGPT, but I've never actually gone in and played around, because as soon as you tell someone about technology or something new, a lot of people kind of push back. That's like a very general tendency of humans as well, right? To push back from something change. But if you adopt to that change and you start learning and kind of executing, I think it's just going to help you on a day-to-day basis. You need to kind of see that it's more as an assistant rather than someone who's going to take your job away.
Do you have specific resources you recommend for people to stay on top of this stuff?
Or anybody you like in particular that you follow?
I don't actually follow anyone in particular, to be honest. I actually follow all these tools. They come up with a lot of information by themselves. ChatGPT is like, you have their own Twitter handle and stuff. You can follow them and they can give you a lot of information, all the developments that they are doing, because they're working from a text-to-text model, right? So you put in inputs and then you give out that. You have text-to-image models, which is Mid-Journey. So I follow their accounts and they keep talking about the information and how they are kind of growing and what kind of data sets they are getting exposed to, because of which their versions are getting better right now. So that's how I'm keeping in touch. For marketing, I follow all the stuff that Dominic follow. It's like Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, and Alex Hormozi.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I've started reading his book. His book is pretty much Dan Kennedy speaking in a little bit more amplified voice. Yeah, I feel like it's the same messaging, right? And every time
his YouTube videos are killer.
Exactly. And every time I read his information, I can see Dan Kennedy's voice there, because it's the same messaging. And then I kind of compare it with our marketing that we do out here, and I feel like we're doing most of it. We're not like keeping any point away. It's just like a refresher for me. Like I'm reading again Dan Kennedy's marketing book. It just feels like a refresher.
Cool. If anyone wants to check out Alex Hormozi's YouTube channel, I'd recommend it because those videos are awesome.
Yeah, he's got a really good team behind him on those videos. Yeah.
How important has content become in marketing?
Content is substantially important because I feel your message needs to go out, and the only way you can do that is by a good amount of copy and content.
This podcast, I guess, is an example of that.
Yeah. I mean, you can potentially give a person a reason why they should be joining a business or why they should be using a product just based on your voice. You just need to communicate the problem that they're actually facing and convince them that you know the problem much better than them. And you can do that with the right amount of content and the right amount of copy. Because if you can tell them that you know that person's problem better than he does, he's going to trust you right away, and then he's going to probably give you his money because you have the solution for it. And you can't do that to talking to a million. Like we talk to thousands of people based on our ads, right? How do you do that as a person? You can only do that using content and using these mediums and out there. One of the things that I learned from Dan Kennedy's book is a trifecta. It's the message, the media, and the market. Now, if we kind of have this in place, then we know our marketing is going to succeed. So the message is the content, the copy that you're actually writing to the market that you need to write to, right? If you're writing content for someone, like say for the doctors, and it's actually showing up to nurses, it's not going to work. It has to go to the right market. And the only way to reach the right market is to the right media. And that is either Facebook or the radio or whatever, like a newspaper, or we used to do faxes before as well. So, it's just that these three things have to be equally given the right importance. And, if someone does that right, they will be really successful. And then content plays a right role in there, because all of these things need content and all of these need copy in order to communicate that message across those media. Yeah.
How do you think you've grown as a marketer since joining Rockstar and being here the last 4 years?
I've learned a lot, to be honest. When I was in my previous organization, it's a huge company, so they follow principles that other big companies follow, right? So I would learn bits and pieces from different places, like lead generation from one person, maybe do another campaign I learned about ads and stuff. This place has taught me how to put those things together. Like, I've never seen such a good marketing system in place where all I need to do is turn up the tab a little bit if I put in a little bit more budget, and I know I'm going to get something more in the end. And because it's a perfect system, and I see when I first joined in, like, I knew it was all funnel buildings and all that stuff, but I saw the entire system live. Like, I saw a person sign up using one of our books, get into the system, go to the follow-up emails, actually come to one of our classes. I was attending that class and I followed that person through and through, and that person became a member. So for me to see that marketing, succeed in live was amazing. Like, that was like a moment for me, like, oh my God, this is it. Like, I need to learn how the system is built, how things work, how lead generation work and everything. And so that's how I learned most of it, right? And I'm trying to go out and kind of help other people as well, wherever I can, like in small businesses or anyone. If someone is asking me, I can tell them, okay, this is the system that you can use and follow this, and it is a sure shot success for you.
So could you maybe call out some of the most notable AI programs that you've discovered and are actually useful for people?
I think right now ChatGPT is top on the list. So start with that, because it's easy to use and learn and kind of adapt and stuff. Because once you use how to use the prompts, it's easy to jump to any other tool and use it. For images, if you want to create, like, if you don't want to look for images in these stock footage and stuff that way, I think you should use Midjourney. There's DALL-E 2, which is also available, but I personally use Midjourney because it's very easy, and if their images have gone hyper realistic. I did one where selfie with Mahatma Gandhi on the streets of India, and it turned out pretty good. It was just so realistic.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Live. So yeah, that is one. For video, it's still in its early stages, but it's called Gen 2. It's a part of Runway ML. If you ever want to test that out, you can use that. For text to voice, I would use 11's Lab IO. That's a tool that you can use, and if you don't want to really use your voice, you can write the script and upload the information out there. You can also train your voice, by the way. You can record your voice, upload it out there, and train the model to use your voice, and you can get all of that script ready with that stuff. We use another tool called Descript.
Yep.
I've used that to kind of train it to use my voice and create certain text. So if I type in some text, it can actually create a voice. It uses my voice to create that, that sort of sound and stuff that way. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I guess Opus Clip, if anyone needs to cut podcast clips, Opus Clip has been great. OPUS Clips.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if for presentations, Tome, TOME.app is something which I recently discovered. When you want to create some really dynamic presentations, you can kind of use that.
Like a slideshow?
Yeah.
So how does that work? You make me a presentation on AI's impact on humanity.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can simplify it saying that, hey, can you make an AI presentation that I need to give to a fifth grader? So it simplifies stuff for you. So it's using multiple AI systems here. It's using text to text. It's using text to image, because it's using images to kind of drive all of these things together and then formulating and bringing it to one. So it's going to happen eventually. There's going to be a system that will develop like something like Google search, where you just put in one information, create a song, a rap song based on your life, your terms, with this person's character's voice and this video and stuff. It'll do that end to end for you, so you don't have to jump from one tool to the other. It's eventually happen.
What do you even need humans for at this point? So that's a good question, because it freaks people out, understandably, thinking about their future and career and their place in the world. So aside from adopting the technologies for yourself, how can people protect themselves? Is it just finding industries that AI isn't going to impact? Is it, Is it focusing on things that are only in the physical world that AI can't yet do?
It's a tough question to answer because I'm not sure what will be the impact of AI, because right now it's taken over creativity, which was like at the bottom of the list. Like I never thought that, AI could affect creativity. So I don't know about others because AI is already present in physical world, right? I mean, AI cannot work well without using good hardware. For example, you go to Walmart, you have all those checkout screens, right? So you scan something and you have to place the item on the baggage area. And if you don't do that, it starts beeping, it starts yelling at you, which means it knows that you've scanned something which is probably 450 grams. And if you won't put that same amount of weight back in that system, it's gonna not allow you to move further. So why do we need humans anymore? Because it's not gonna let you, imagine if they take off all the humans, it's a big ass gate out there. And if you don't do your scanning properly and if you don't do all that stuff, it's not going to open up for you. So you're going to get stuck over there till you figure out everything.
Oh my God.
So eventually humans will not be needed. Like autonomous labor, like it's basically available everywhere. So yeah.
So yeah, you can't protect yourself at all.
Yeah. So I really don't have an answer to that, honestly, because
And I feel like we'll always need tradesmen. I don't know if AI can replace that eventually, maybe, but
yeah, I still feel doctors, like one profession that I can really think of is the medical field, because I still can't trust AI to kind of fully
operate on you.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Well, just like with cars, how there's going to be self-driving cars that have zero human error, and massively reduce the amount of car accidents that are going to happen. They're going to have robotic surgeons doing surgeries on people with zero human error. Like it's just a matter of time. It's going to be all laser precisioned and all that.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I see it there. I know right now doctors are across the world and actually operating on someone else using robotics and a little bit of AI, but it's the person actually moving his hands to do the operation. It's happened already. Like people have done that. There's a guy in India who was operated, but the person was in the US. So they were able to do that based on machinery and all of that stuff. But what if you just take that person away? Like it's good in a way because now you don't have to wait for a long time and you can just take an appointment and just go and get your surgery done. But how efficient is it? It's not ready yet because it still is learning from doctors who can actually make mistakes, right? It's again the same data, it's the same information that is learning from us. But eventually, will it get that good that it doesn't need humans anymore and can figure it out by itself? Yeah, don't know.
Wow. Buy real estate before the AI does.
Yeah, use Bitcoin, buy real estate. We don't even know that you're paying rent to a landlord who's actually an AI.
Oh, God.
Crazy stuff.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm going to start with ChatGPT. I need to definitely integrate that into my life. It seems like it's a no-brainer at this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks, man. Is there anything else you want to mention? Anything you want to leave people? Where can people find out about you? Are you on social media? Do you want to leave anything with anyone, or that's it?
I have a website. It's called Train the Marketer, and it's a small little journey that I have started to kind of help people learn a little bit about marketing. I'm trying to help small businesses achieve the same system that we have here, so that they can succeed. And a lot of people have burned a lot of money doing a lot of ads and stuff and going in a direction that they don't really have a direction. So I just want to help them get the right direction, succeed. And then, I don't know if this is becoming a big thing, but it's just a way for me to take this experience and help more people. That's it. Like I've learned so much from Tom and Nick, and I can take this and give it back to so many other people and help them. Yeah, that's like a little mission that I have for myself.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. Okay, beauty. We have a team lunch, so we're going to get going. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thanks, Keith.
No worries. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. You can find every new episode of the Your Life, Your Term show on all the major streaming platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. And if you'd like to get free copies of some of the books that we've put together, like these right here, or some of the reports that we've put together, like these right here, you can find all of those at www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's it for now. Until next time, your life, your terms.